Welcome to the Banter Beans podcast.
We're making sense of our nonsense is your job.
Hey, what do you mean nonsense?
I mean, you're doing great, bud.
Aw, thanks, man.
Don't mention it. Once a week, we bring a new topic for discussion.
We laugh.
I make Data cry.
What?
And we both have fun doing it.
Can we go back a second,
Without
please?
further ado, please enjoy the episode.
So, any game news before we start on Gacha games?
Game news.
See, even you like the word. You're warming up to the whole section.
What is new and trending? Data!
Oh.
Little Kitten Big City came out.
Oh, is that why Lucy was talking to me about it last night?
Oh my god, my wife has wanted to play that so bad. Okay, so if anyone potentially listening enjoyed Untitled Goose Game, Little Kitty Big City is like your next go-to for amazingness. I'm buying this right now, by the way, as we speak. I am putting it in my cart and purchasing it.
Oh.
It is a cat simulator where you can just explore a town and F with people or be adorable. That's it. That's the game. You are just cat. Enjoy being cat. Love being cat. It is everything that Stray was not, because Stray told like a really compelling story and like made you cry and it was super good. But like some people just want to be a cat. Some people just want to dance around and knock stuff off shelves and stuff. And that's what Little Kitty Big City is supposed to be. It's supposed to be just fun times cat simulator. And that's what that is. I am going to get strangled by my wife when she finds out this game is out, because she asked me to let her know when that was happening. Oh my god, I'm sorry. I'm gushing really bad.
You're explaining exactly what Lucy did. Well,
Lucy,
water.
Lucy is not on the podcast. I am. And I am explaining that you must be a cat to ride. Oh, Carton of Ban 7 came out. Wow. I didn't even realize that we had anything past Carton of Ban 5. I don't think you know anything about Garten of Ban. It's an indie horror game that looks like someone spent a weekend in Blender.
Oh,
it's kind of awful looking. They're just like kindergarten clay creation characters that murder you. There's a new bullet hell game called Rabbit and Steel.
Rabbit and Steel.
Looks like Hades got a release. Hades 2 is in early access. Hades was a vastly popular RPG roguelike that featured the Greek pantheon as the ruling gods, allowing you to gain their favor and gain abilities while exploring a set of dungeons. Pretty great. I actually own Hades 1 and haven't played it. I should absolutely do so. It's got overwhelmingly positive reviews.
Well, it reminded me of Salad, but that's great.
Hades reminded you of Salad?
I think why you just said Greek pantheon, I immediately thought Salad.
What?
Don't mind me.
I'm sorry, I wasn't paying attention. What the hell did you send me on Discord?
That was the first thing that popped on somebody recommended. We're not going to say that.
No, we're not. It says way too much. I'm not that mean. I guess release of the week for me is Little Kitty Big City, and I cannot wait to inform my wife that we now own it. I wasn't planning on spending any money today. Dang it. What have you done, Data? What are you doing to me?
You looked at yourself.
I did. It was 10% off. I saved $2.
Wait a minute. Oh, it's co-op. Rabbit and Steel you're talking about?
Oh, I thought you were about to say Little Kitty Big City was co-op, and I was about to lose my mind.
I'm gonna paw slap your face.
It's probably the entire thing.
I want to play it.
So
I want to play it. I want to play Rabbit and Steel. Anyways.
I looked at it and I was like, huh, this kind of reminds me of the Corgi game.
Kind of, but it's roguelite. And it's co-op. And there's a demo.
Stop tempting me, you fiend.
Just get it. I don't even know if I'm gonna put it on YouTube. Sorry. What's this? What is going on? Huh?
That was the most Japanese reaction. Like, and I'm talking like 90s bad acting Japanese reactions.
I'm sorry.
For like the English voiceovers.
Ooh, ah, ooh. Speed Racer, no. Ooh, ah.
Oh my god. Oh. Like they just didn't know what to do with the extra frames when Japanese didn't translate to English well. It was so dumb. My god.
You got your Dexter's Laboratory spin off of it too. Ooh, oh.
Starting to remind me of Johnny Bravo, where he'd like and it just pose.
Oh yeah.
That was less cringe, to be honest. Let's talk about what we talked about, but in more detail and longer.
Your never-ending pain with gacha games.
Indeed. Data, going back to the games, we had a recent obsession, or maybe it was only my obsession. You had a wonderful time experiencing the story and still continuing to experience the story. I went mad. I think I actually lost my mind for a short amount of time.
You did. You did. Every single day you would tell me and update me on what your status is.
I dare you to like give later on when you're doing the podcast recording, just do a little fade out of like the constant pictures and my reactions and just my slow maddening state. Or not. This is a podcast, so it's more listening than visual. But no, I am referring to a gacha game that you recommended to me during a game of OJ and proceeded to ask for friends to indulge in your first recording. Snowbreak.
Yay. By the way, you're the only friend who actually responded to the request.
I made you a promise to try the games that you recommended, and I'm stuck to that promise, much to my detriment.
Yes.
I thought I had good luck. No, the game was just making me suffer. So, for full context, Data recently got into a game called Snowbreak, a fun little anime waifu gacha game involving girls with tragic backstories using firearms to maintain world peace. You know, a classic story, right, Data?
No. You did not explain that very well.
No, I did not, because I didn't give two hoots about the story. I will be honest, I skipped every cutscene. And it got progressively worse. At first, I thought it was just funny. I was going to be playing some catch up to you. I was going to stick around where you were, and I was going to follow along. I also thought that the game had a much more in-depth multiplayer function, which was why I wanted to match you and then continue on with you. That's not at all what happened, is it, Data?
Nope.
We found out that there was one multiplayer event that is jank. It's the best way I can put it. I think it nerfed you the first time we played together, and you like doing squiddly damage, and I was barely keeping up. And we lost like the first 4 attempts because we just couldn't kill anything fast enough.
Yeah, that's one of the things about having an RPG type stats shooter.
Right. So After that initial introduction, I was eager to try and catch up to you, get my characters and my overall player level somewhat equal to you. And at a certain point, I just started to get sucked into the grind. For the RPG elements, getting weapons, upgrading the weapons, upgrading the operatives, playing the extra missions to get all the materials for the upgrades. I didn't even realize what was happening to me until it was too late. And then ecosystem beckoned. Data, what do you spend your DigiCash on regularly?
Regularly? I don't.
Right.
Just
you save it up.
About it.
and occasionally you buy nice furniture for these girls who break your heart.
Wording, I guess.
It's kind of how I felt. Like they all have tragic backstories, worse than anyone with any girl with daddy issues, and you like to treat them well.
What the?
I will continue to butcher this story as long as that's funny.
You can tell Lycan played it for different reasons than I did.
I very much did.
No, the main story for people who don't know, and you can watch the chapter 1 that I played through, but it is a more serious tone with some nice parts, because if you don't play the main story, you play the side stuff, you get to know their operatives and what they do on their off time and stuff, and getting to know them a lot more as people. That is what I strive for. I like the story, the serious story, the story that makes me cry, and I also like these people who seem like actually have personality.
Right.
Meanwhile, Lycan is here trying to get his echoes, trying to get all the side quests that have nothing to do with the story and spend it all on echoes.
Yep. No, that's the clear comparison between us. You were having a heartfelt, engaging experience with all these girls, learning their backstories, sharing in their struggles, seeing how they cooperate together to try and keep what's left of humanity together. And then I'm over here like, skip cutscene, fight, kill, skip cutscene, collect 50 digicash, play echo, get nothing, fight, skip cutscene. It was 2 weeks. No, were we playing for 2 weeks or 3 weeks? Somewhere between 2 or 3 weeks. I started after you by almost a week, so something like that. It was tragic. I, on the first couple of echo polls, managed to get an orange. I forget who it was. It might have been Fridia. No, it was Life Wild Hunt. Life Wild Hunt was the very first orange I pulled. Life is the main character, the very first operative you get, and I got like the 5-star Gucci version of her that uses ice instead of lightning. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. Well, my team's more powerful now. And I continued playing. And early on in the game, it is much easier to amass digicash because there are a ton of incentives and programs and like early level stuff that give you a ton of cash. And that's part of the ploy. Data. I realize that's how they get you. They make it super easy early on to just scratch the itch, and then they start to wean you off. It becomes harder and harder to earn the digicash you need for polls.
Hey, let me ask you, in RPG games, JRPG games, or just any RPG games, where you go on an adventure, you start at level 1, and then you make your way towards the big bad at the end of the game. You go to shops.
Yes.
You buy stuff from the shops.
Yes.
What do you buy?
Typically, just potions and antidotes. I try to avoid equipment because the game obnoxiously gives you the equipment that's better than that somewhere along the line if you're patient. Oh,
well, I'm the opposite. I buy equipment and I forget the potions because I use mana for healing.
Nah, I'll massively stock up on potions and spam them in boss fights. Cheese.
Yes. However, this is the point I'm trying to make. At the end of the game, I have all this money. I have almost maxed out money. I have almost maxed out capacity for all potions. Translate that into gacha games. I never use the cash or currency or whatever they do for summon pulls.
Jesus. Well, you can use it on other stuff like furniture to make the girls' lives a little bit more comfortable.
Yeah, and they also open up a little bit more too.
Right. I think life had a trust level of 16 with me, and then everyone else is like level 3 or lower. It's like I gave them rooms, but the rooms were just empty boxes. I am not a good host. I am a terrible person. But it didn't matter because the main person I wanted from almost, I think, day 2, the time that me and Data started playing, gacha games will cycle specialty characters and events pretty regularly to keep incentivizing people to keep playing, even like the maxed out level players. This event was called what? Moonlight Garden? I think that's what it's called. It features a special storyline about one of the characters named Cherno, who has sort of a second personality based on story element Titagen thingy. I obviously did not pay enough attention to that. But anyway. Oh, okay, good. I'm sort of on track. So I did the trial because while I was trying to play, I wanted all the free stuff. And playing trials gives you some free digicash and other stuff. And I did the trial for Cherno Enigma, and she was strong. She was like strong. She summons big old spheres that do constant AoE damage and then explode for funsies. That's just fun to me. And like you can make the spheres appear anywhere. But possible spoiler alert, I really enjoy using the spheres. Anyway, she was the only character I really cared for. And there is a specific, they're called echoes for pulling characters. There's a specific echo cache that you need and a banner pull to get her specifically. Over the course of the last 2 weeks, from logging in every day and just grinding until I had enough in-game currency to do a 10 pull, each day. And early on, I did multiple 10 pulls in a single day. I probably pulled over 100 times in that small amount of time I've had the game, not including doing the echo pulls for the other categories. And there is a clear graph of my level of insanity, as each time I pulled, I would get anything but Cherno Enigma. And it was maddening.
I remember very well.
I kept getting, mind you, I would get 5-star characters, but the problem with that is the game is programmed, apparently, to make it more likely to pull Cherno if you do her echo set specifically. However, if you get a 5-star pull and it is not her, it resets the likelihood to get them. There's like a guaranteed pull after so many. And I cannot explain to you how soul crushing it was to do a 10 pull, to see an orange drop, and to get Fenny. I don't know. I didn't expect the game to hurt me, Data.
Oh, well,
but it did.
It said a guaranteed orange drop, but it's just boosting 50% higher for Cherno Enigma.
Right, so I got the lower percentage chance character, and that sucked. I literally, out of how many operatives are there? I think of the epics, there's 15, or the purple ones, and of the oranges, there's another 10? No, 7. There are 7 oranges and like 15 purples. At this time, for the current event, I'm only missing a single character of the entire roster, because I managed to pull every other character before pulling Cherno.
Can I tell you some news?
Oh, go on.
The day that you uninstalled the game, the day after, they introduced a new character.
Not reinstalling the game data. I'm not. It's too early. I'm taking a break. I can't, buddy. I can't. Do you understand what it was I was doing every day after work? My wife was getting concerned. She would point out, "Man, you must really enjoy that game because you're playing it all the time." And I looked at her and I told her straight up, "I'm not." Like, the final day that I was grinding up the DigiCash felt like I clocked out of my job and went to my second job. I was just not having fun. I wasn't enjoying the missions. And I'm like really late into the story missions. I think I'm further than you by like 3 chapters at this point.
I'm on chapter 10. I'm taking my time. I'm recording it. Do you have any idea how long these things are?
I'm on the chapter after 11 where it's the special one. And like it introduced some unique game mechanics and new mission types, and it has a neat point where it's a very different experience on how the characters interact with each other. And in retrospect, it was probably some of the more compelling gameplay and story compared to older missions. And it also clearly the chapter that first introduced jumping as a mechanic in the game, because you can constantly jump in that set of missions, which is just funny. But I gotta tell you, man, I was so done. I couldn't care. I really couldn't at the time, because it was day after day of sending you a picture of no Cherno. Oh, I didn't even get any. I barely got a single purple this time. And it's a character I already had. I was a sad man, dude. Actually pulling Cherno, I was very tempted to just uninstall the game. Instead we played some fun missions, doing one last round of the sorry excuse for multiplayer. And I had a genuine good time. It was cleansing. But I had a very serious and real addiction for a moment there.
It's crazy.
It is. Mind you, my brain is weird. So the moment I got what I wanted, I lost all interest in the game. So I'm free for now, unless you convince me to re-download, in which case you're responsible for the results.
Do you like magicians?
Wait, is it that red hair girl?
Yes.
Oh no, forget her. I don't care.
Oh, okay.
I hate
I hate redheads.
No. In the story mission, I had to use her for some of the missions, which
no. Don't spoil it.
I'm just gonna say, like, I just didn't care for her moves. I didn't care for her as a character. I'm not gonna tell you anything that happens. I'm just saying at a certain point in a mission further ahead than you actually do get her as a trial character. And I almost always switched out of her if there was anyone else available. It didn't matter what weapon they had. She just was disappointingly underpowered for me. And I'm pretty sure you're forced to use her 5-star version too, which makes it really sad. But I digress. No, I am very keenly aware of how a gacha system can drag you in. And it starts out with a ton of freebies, and then it weans you off of the free stuff and constantly shoves the optional microtransactions in your face. Because as you run out of the currency the game provides you, you become dependent on it to make progress. And that's the wall that I hit. I'm just a stubborn mother trucker, and I refuse to spend any money. And it cost me an extra 2 hours after work every day doing the grinds. And that was just for a single 10 pull a day.
I mean, obviously, people's goals are different for games. Like yours and mine were completely different. We already kind of touched on. I like the story and stuff. My main gripe was finally running out of the stamina system.
Right. No, I think between the two of us, you are the kind of person that the actual developers of the game love to see playing. Someone who cares so much. Yes. Someone who cares so much about the actual story, because objectively, Snowbreak is very well done. It has pretty decent graphics. It's a very pretty game. The animations are pretty solid. The characters are pretty great. There are full 3D cutscenes in certain parts of the story, mixed in with all the 2D cutscenes. I acknowledge that Snowbreak is probably a good game. If you were to completely remove all the microtransactions and make the characters just solely unlockable through gameplay, I'd probably spend $20 to $30 to play the whole thing. Hell, without the gacha mechanics, I might have been incentivized to pay attention to the story.
Yeah, if it was a full Steam game or something.
No, absolutely. If it was not a free game and it was a $20 to $30 buy, it would be worth every penny.
Yeah, same. I would buy it instantly.
Right. Just I think hard mode was like a whole bunch of the missions pushed together. Like make an adjustable difficulty slider and make the missions all about hard mode missions in length, and the challenges for just score modifiers, and you would have a patently just decent game with pretty decent mechanics.
Yeah, just take some of the grind out. Just don't do what I do and be like 15 levels below.
You enjoy pain, my friend, and I can't even blame you for that. There's plenty of JRPGs where I will pick fights with things bigger than me because I am too stubborn to acknowledge that I should come back later. There was I'm pretty sure I told you about a time playing The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt, where I wanted to full clear the first map. There is a bandit camp in the northern part of the map on The Witcher 3 in the very first zone. That is very clearly you should come back to this later. And the game does have you returning to areas throughout the story when you would be stronger. I said F that. I think by the time you finish the main story plot in the first area, you're like level 6, maybe level 8 if you've been doing all the side quests along the way. There is a level 15 bandit camp. Nearly double your level for most people. And I died so many times because I refused to leave that part of the map undone. I don't know what it was. I was just obsessed with full clearing the map, which is stupid because you come back later and new missions pop up. I realized. But that didn't bother me then. I wanted the full exploration. So I threw myself at the bandit camp and I strategized and I picked them off one by one. I got into large fights a couple times because they aggro too easy. I got really good at the parry system and tactic fighting foes that are much stronger than me. And I eventually managed to wipe out the bandit camp. I think there was like 6 to 9 of them, somewhere between there. And every single one of them can 2-shot you easily. Like surviving a single hit is miraculous, but you hardly have time to heal even if you do. It was a strain, but finishing it felt more rewarding than the game actually gave you. Witcher is one of those games where it doesn't give you extra experience for for punching above your weight class. All missions have like a baseline experience gain. So I got basically nothing for that experience. Just bragging rights that I was able to do it. So going after enemies tougher than you just to see if you can do it, I get it. It's stupid. I acknowledge it's stupid, but it's like personally rewarding.
Yeah, it's like going into Airsoft and you barely even play like two games with people, and these people are all veterans, not just in Airsoft, but also in the military. fun. You get to learn many things, and you get a bunch of bruises in the process.
Oh, absolutely. But you learn faster than if you take things at a measured pace. In ways, it has its merits.
Yeah. Those are not life bullets. Yeah. But it is funny when you see. It is funny when you see, like in random encounter games like Final Fantasy, in order to gain experience points in a place way above your level, just smack them once and try to run and hope for the best.
Oh my god. No, that reminds me of so many games where you could cheese enemies into getting killed easily. Like in Dark Souls, I think that's a legitimate tactic. I saw a short of someone's tricking an enemy that was way too strong for them into chasing them. They lured them to a cliff and then parried an attack, which has the enemy take a step backwards. So they just step off the back of the cliff and die. And you gain a whole bunch of the in-game currency.
Yes,
I think it's Souls. But yeah, I love games that let you take advantage of that. Snowbreak does not. Snowbreak very much punishes you for punching above your weight class. Your bullets are confetti.
Yep. Doesn't help that you're on a time limit too.
Yeah, you were not finishing your challenge, were you?
What?
When you were going 15 levels above, you were not getting the time challenge.
Oh no. They don't. I don't think they give time challenges. Like if you complete it, then you get this amount of stuff. But I did complete it within the allotted time in the first try.
Pretty good. Pretty good.
No one died except like one had 100 HP or something.
What was I talking about before this? Oh yeah, gachas. So I got obsessed doing the grind. There is a very serious point where the grind would have become intolerable. Not to mention, I think there's only like 13 or 14 total chapters if you include the special and bonuses. Once you finish those, there is no steady way to earn Digicash, which is like the main currency of the game.
Well, there is.
And expound.
Remember, you do the daily missions. That's how you got your Digicash.
But that is unbearably slower. Like that's 10 Digicash per tick versus the 50 per mission, which if you know what you're doing, even with the trial characters, may take only 2 minutes. It's like some things are simple, like doing auto completes on some of the operations to get the various components would get you the spend so much presents all at once. But what about actually completing missions or getting characters to a certain level or leveling up your adjutant, which honestly at level 55 was slow as molasses.
Oh, that's true. Oh, that makes sense. There's also like the other game modes which help with getting currency, and you can use that currency to buy Digicash.
Potentially. The events absolutely would add a certain method of gaining Digicash. I plowed through all of the main methods to get Digicash, doing the underground purge, doing the main story missions. But I hit one wall after another with how fast I was able to climb in power. Mm-hmm. And after level 50, that was just the slog point. I was not leveling up my adjutant very quickly. All of my operatives were stuck at level 60. And even now, they're stuck at level 60. And I'm not going to be able to get them up. I'm straight up not grinding anymore. I uninstalled the game. That's not a joke. I got what I wanted and I pieced out.
Oh yeah, I have hard evidence with the recording.
Oh yes, I made sure to display that. But I can only imagine once the main story is done and all of the best methods for gaining experience in Digicash are over, that becomes the hard stop. That becomes it's going to take you a month of constantly logging in and waiting for new events to be able to earn any money towards anything. And I think that's where people start opening their wallets, and that's where people crumble. I remember when we were doing Gigalink, a level 100 joined us, and they had Cherno Enigma as well. And I stopped for a moment and I thought, if you're level 100, you're maxed out. How are you still earning DigiCash? What are you doing? And my mind is like, now that I've gotten to level 50 and I see the climb that level 100 would be, to just play the missions or do other stuff. No, that like people start spending hard money on the game at that point.
Yeah.
And that's where my new tag on Snowbreak is. If you were to look at my friend profile on your list, buddy, gachas are evil. And that's where I think people who don't have the restraint like I do, just by a smidge. I am not bragging. There were many times I considered spending just a little bit of money. I think like to just end the curse, there's a outfit for Cherno Enigma that's a maid costume. I do not care for the costume, but I considered buying it if it would automatically unlock Cherno Enigma. The reason I didn't buy it is only because it did not unlock Cherno. I decided to maintain the grind, and I did not buy the outfit. But I was that close from spending money on a free-to-play game.
Which is not very normal for you.
No, spending money on a free-to-play game is like sacrilege for me. It's just not to be done. Ignoring VR chat. Don't bring VR chat into this. We don't have to look at my avatar list.
Oh gosh. We're not like the ultimate free to play player. I think someone labeled that me as such. I've never had the money to. Well, that plus I just never had the money to buy anything online back then. So that kind of ingrained into me. It's like, oh, just play the game, play it. You get the free stuff in there. You use the free stuff, and then you get to the point where I'm at, where you actually had to invite me to spend the DigiCash that amassed in my account without even knowing. I didn't know I had 5,000 DigiCash just sitting there until you mentioned it.
You have reminded me of my trauma. You've reminded me of my trauma. In the midst, mind you, at this point, I have done like dozens of echoes, and I have pulled a lot of characters. I probably had all but like 6 characters at this point. Me and Data decided to sit down and play some Gigalinks, and he let it slip how much DigiCash he had. And I basically forced him to do a couple of 10 pulls. At least that's what I asked for. The very first 10 pull, this mother trucker did, where he barely had to spend any of the DigiCash because he just had some spare cards. And the first pull, he got the character that I was looking for. And I was devastated. I was angry. The rage that I could feel in my heart for you is irrational, and I apologize if you felt at all in danger during that time.
Not at all. I was laughing my butt off when I saw what I pulled.
I can't wait for you to eventually edit that recording and put it out, because Discord unfairly mutes laughter. And I'm sure there's so much more I couldn't hear when that happened.
Oh yeah, I was laughing like a hyena.
Oh my god. Looking forward to my trauma being relived once more. But yeah, no, the game was cruel. And I think that is what set me on the madman's quest, that for a week straight, I came home, did my dailies, grinded up 1,600 DigiCash, and did a 10 pull at the slot machine that is called the Echo Chamber. And day after day, I sent screenshots of my results to Data. He has a record. It's so bad. Until finally I got it, and we went and we did some Gigalinks in celebration, and video to be posted next week, probably, maybe. I hope. I'm looking forward to it.
I will see. Like my rotation of games is kind of getting off rotation.
Yeah. Well, just give me a heads up when you're working on it, bud.
Okay. For a while, when you kept sending me screenshots and like, I wouldn't say bragging, but I for a while I thought like, are you the type of person to want to be on top at all times? And then I was like, wait, nah, can't be.
No,
You were just
those
super
screenshots
focused.
were cries of pain. Those screenshots were cries of pain. Like I can see where you're coming from, because quite a few of them were like, hey, look at this new orange, look at this guy. And I at a certain point, I imagine you realized, oh, he's not happy, he's upset. Because he's literally getting everything except for what he wants. I sent screenshots of Fenny, I got Anya, I got Life, I got Marnie, or whatever her name is. I didn't get Yao. Marine?
Who's Marnie?
Marin? Is it Marin?
Marion?
Marion, yeah, sniper chick.
I thought Marnie from Stardew Valley for a sec. I was like, that's a completely different person.
Yeah, no, short silver hair, sniper rifle. She teleports. I think she's in a real early mission as well. Her standard version is in like a really early story mission for chapter 1.
Yeah, the one where you go into different perspectives, which was really cool in my opinion.
Yeah, like that was awesome, and that was weirdly unique for most of the chapters following. That does come back eventually, which is neat. I'm not spoiling anything for you, bud. It's genuinely, you're going to love the story going forward. It even gets better. In retrospect, a lot of what happened was really cool. I was blind to it during it because of my incessant need and pain. But yeah, the moment I got that orange pull, I just started spamming data with pictures from the cutscene that I'd already seen him experience, and then the actual character itself. Like the relief, I'm sure, was very audible when we connected in call later.
I feel like I'm just gonna put a picture of you worshiping slash.
It's going to be a great thumbnail of just me losing my mind. Like, maybe you probably just use a whole bunch of my PNGs in different emotions, just in fade, and just one of me screaming, like in full solid color. It was an experience. I do not want to play a gacha game again for a while. Or at the very least, I will probably go your route and focus more on the story and take my time. Because playing just for the prestige of the characters, or because there's a specific character you want, is a different kind of soul crushing than I've ever experienced.
When you play like me, whatever you get a orange level or whatever, high level character, you nurture that person.
Which is fair.
Well, actually, that can also make people pull out their wallets.
No, it's playing the hand you're dealt and just trying to enjoy the gameplay itself is a far cry. And, the sad part,
they pull out their wallets because they want the best for their baby.
Oh. you honest up until level 50, you honestly don't need to spend that much. Like the game provides you the tools to get your character to a competent power level in a lot of ways. But once you get to like at our adjunct level for chapters like 7+, it's not possible to bring your own characters into the missions. You have to use the trial characters because the game quickly outlevels you. That's honestly a major,
makes it like canon because the characters are talking to each other and you're using that character.
That's one way of positively looking at it. I remember in the earlier missions, after getting like Life and a couple of other oranges, the early missions were a joke in difficulty. I was breezing through them, finishing most of them at or under 60 seconds because it was just shoot, kill. And then the difficulty spiked heavily, very quickly. There's a mission that's like a capture the point, and I had to play with the trial characters, and it took me 3 tries, not just because I feel like that game mode is not designed for that gameplay, but because I needed to quickly learn and master the abilities of characters that I don't own and have not had the chance to practice.
Yes. Like knowing that you can reload the railgun.
Oh yeah, by using the special ability, you basically reload the railgun. And it's more on a timer than it is a bullet limit at that point. But the way I finally got it under time was I figured out what I needed to do, and even then, I ended up bringing in an under-level operative just for their ability to give me passive damage in some of the zones. I think I brought in the 5-star Anya so I could throw that Tesla gate in the direction of the other zones to do some stack damage and to electrify them. And that was the only way I was able to beat it.
I see. I only used Yao.
I couldn't just use Yao. So it was Yao, and what was the other character?
Acacia.
Right. So the way I would do it was I was mostly Yao, but I would hot swap to Anya, and I'd send a electric fence towards one of the contested zones. Then I would swap back to Yao, and I would use Acacia's support skill to cause one of her spitting tops to focus on a specific enemy or area of enemies. And then I would use Yao's sniper and load it with her skill to do massive headshot damage. And I just got really efficient at plugging away at that until I managed to get it at around 200 seconds.
See.
Yeah. And that was a pain. There are certain missions and moments where the game felt like it wasn't optimized for the situation it was asking for.
Imagine doing it on mobile. Just your thumbs.
God, doing that on a phone or a tablet. Anyway. So yeah, gacha games. They have a lot of potential for good fun. Some of them have pretty great stories.
Yeah.
But be careful of the siren song. The echoes or whatever the system pull is. It is a slippery slope, and one that I nearly fell into, all for the sake of a single character.
Yes. On the flip side, though, if you do absolutely enjoy the game, absolutely support the creators of that game. If you feel like you have the money for it and you're not using your life savings. And please don't spend $1,000 a month on free-to-play games. Like I know someone who did.
I know who you're calling out. It's a shame that they don't watch the podcast.
Yeah, that'd be kind of weird. Anyways, if you want to support the content creators, absolutely go for it, and you have the money for it. I would do that, especially when if you put yourself a limit each month. Absolutely. That way you don't have to bang your head against the wall like Lycan did. His ultimate goals for characters.
I have an emotional concussion.
Oh gosh. Speaking of limits in gacha games and just games in general, especially mobile games, in China, they have very strict rules on minors who can play video games, just video games in general. That mostly includes mobile games, which makes me wonder if that's why there's a stamina system in a lot of gacha games, but I digress. Anyways, the government of China has passed that law. I don't remember when, but a little while ago, where it is illegal for minors to play video games during school nights and only about 3 hours over the whole weekend. And you know what?
The entirety of China is an overbearing parent, but go on.
I don't know, maybe. I have no opinion on that, but can you believe that the parents still think that's a little too lenient? Like, a lot of parents think it's too lenient still.
My overstimulated American child brain begs to disagree, but that's my personal opinion.
Yeah, you learn a lot of cool skills if you play the right games.
Yeah, there's a lot of culture that you can be introduced to as well.
Yeah, like RPGs, a lot of Japanese culture, and a lot of learning the story and the characters and being more, what's the word? Empathetic. Have a little bit more empathy for people. Learn a lot from games.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I can think of a number of times video games taught me to look at my life in a different perspective.
Kingdom Hearts.
Shush, Ethan. I'm just saying, not like I took life advice from a game, but I was reminded multiple times that, sometimes things aren't as bad as I think they can be. And other times, games were just a great release for bottled up oppression and sadness, which probably not the most healthy therapist, but video games were there for me when my parents weren't.
Yes.
Not to get dark. Data? I am all bantered out. How about you?
Me too.
Yes, baby.
She's no longer sounding like a really tiny kid.
What do you mean?
She sounds more like a kid, not a tiny kid.
Oh yeah. She occasionally says things. Hey Mimi, can you say apple?
Aww.
Yeah. Can you say Peppa? Can you say I love you? Can you say I love you?
Apples.
That's Data.
Hi.
No, that's not mommy. That's Data.
Hi, I'm...
Do you understand that this is a microphone? Is that why you're speaking directly into it?
Probably because she sees you talking into it, so she's replicating what you're doing.
Maybe.
You're teaching her how to be a professional streamer.
Oh no. Abort. I'm sorry, Data, we can't do this. One thing to have a gaming addiction, it's another thing to become a content creator.
Don't remind me.
You say bye-bye? You say bye-bye?